You might have seen this tweet about Angel Gomes coming on for England for Kobbie Mainoo, having not made it at Man United, whereas the likes of Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho certainly have at Old Trafford. And there's been a load of players with loads of potential, loads of hope on them, who haven't quite made the grade at Manchester United. In fact, they've had a youth player who's come up through the academy into the first team squad since 1937. So there's been a lot of players with a lot of hope who haven't managed to make it. And a lot have gone on to have successful careers lower down the pyramid. The ones mentioned here, well, let's have a quick look at them. But before we do, just to mention Angel Gomes, he was a player when he was at United, was more of a wide player, loads and loads of ability, so many fans so excited about what he could do. Quite a small player as well, but he's ended up not making the grade, and he went in the end to France and has made it really well at Lille, where he ended up being the Ligue 1's top assist maker last season, playing actually in more of a central midfield role, so a different position for him, and it's worked out for him all right. And if you look at his youth career as it's come through in the England setup at the under-21s, and now as Lee Carsley, his under-21 boss, taking over at England, at least at an interim level, has given him that opportunity and reminded fans what they've missed. And what have they missed? Well, let's look at Axel Tuanzebe. He's a player who had a lot of hope on him, didn't make the grade at United, ended up on loan at Aston Villa and then Stoke City, didn't really cut it quite there, but at Ipswich Town, he's now back in the Premier League. He's played 3 games so far at the start of the season before the international break, and that's after Ipswich got that promotion, double promotion from League One to the Championship and now to the Premier League. He had a squad role last season. You know, if he wasn't starting, he was certainly coming on, and he looks like he's a key player in this Ipswich Town side at the moment. So positivity for him. Where next? Well, I'll tell you what, let's go to Shoretire. That's a player that loads of United fans had so much hope and expectation on. Such an exciting player, attacking player. He ended up on loan at Bolton Wanderers. I saw him last season coming on as a sub. Wasn't really able to make a huge impact there. And yeah, he's only 19 now, but he's ended up going abroad to PAOK in Greece, and we'll see how his career can progress. And of course, there is, as Angel Gomes has shown, a route back to success. He's still got time on his side, and maybe perhaps a new start away from you know, the life he's had in Greater Manchester might help him. We'll have to wait and see. Still time is on his side. Where next? Well, let's have a look at Tim Fosu-Mensah. Really sad story for him. He's currently on a free transfer, and you know, in his time at United, he managed to pick up quite a few accolades as well. You know, he's in some successful squads, won an FA Cup as well. He went to Bayer Leverkusen, but didn't play at all in their incredible season, undefeated when he won the league, and did so incredibly, winning the cup as well in Germany, because he did his ACL in the season before that and wasn't able to get a game at all, and he's now been released on a free transfer. He's still got a few years left. I think he's 26 now. He's got international caps as well, but yeah, it's really disappointing for him, and wherever he goes next, it is an opportunity for him to kind of try and rebuild his career after injury. But yeah, very sad for him, and you know, here's hoping that he can recover both mentally and physically and kick on. Jesse Lingard, right, well, can anyone really say he didn't make it at Man United when he played over 200 games? That's a bit of a tricky one, but I suppose the real issue is when we saw how much potential, how much promise he had, how exciting he was when he first broke into the United side, and then where his career kind of ended up, it kind of feels like it was a missed opportunity. He ended up, well, he did win quite a few honours at Man United before ending up on loan at West Ham, where he was really successful, actually. You know, he seemed to have a really good time there and kind of rebuild his reputation and career after kind of it was fizzling out and he was kind of left on the bench at Man United. So he had a really good opportunity there, but he decided to go to Nottingham Forest for a big move. He was, you know, one of the key signings, it looked like, when they had got promoted to the Premier League, and it didn't work out for him at all at Forest, and eventually they wanted to offload him to FC Seoul, where again he actually had issues with the head coach over his fitness, but he's still there. There's videos on social media of him getting involved in like a fish market, I think, and doing lots of things outside of playing in South Korea as well. So it looks like he's at least, you know, found a different path for him. And I think when you look at how short a professional footballer's career is, the fact he played so many games for Man United and then played so many games for England as well, you can kind of see when he looks back on it, overall it's a successful career, but the real issue is perhaps all the promise that he had didn't really feel like he fulfilled it. You know, he had the Jay Lings thing going on and his own line of clothing, but I think that company didn't particularly do well either. So, you know, for some fans, it'll be a player that's kind of fallen by the wayside and kind of wasted his potential. But ultimately, you've got to say, if you make it as a pro, that's still a good thing, isn't it? And one more as well, Cameron Borthwick-Jackson. This is probably an example of where United fans see a player come through, he comes off the bench and does okay, and then, you know, might get a start towards the end of the season, and there's lots of high hopes, and then it looks like a career that's not quite fulfilled itself. But when you think maybe, you know, where a player's ability is and where they are and where they can get to, every player has a ceiling, don't they? And that can be through injury, or it can be just through opportunity or ability. We don't quite know. But for Borthwick-Jackson, he ended up on loan at Oldham Athletic in the lower leagues of the EFL, and then he joined them. And you know, he was just a solid, consistent player. I actually saw quite a bit of him in his time in League One and League Two, and just a solid performer at fullback. Nothing particularly special at that level. Ended up in Scotland, where he was again more of a utility player, and at Ross County, not quite breaking into the first 11 often in the Scottish Premiership, and he's available on a free transfer. But again, you know, I guess like a lot of Man United players, when you come through that academy, there's so much expectation, there's so much promise. You've come through years and years of playing with these brilliant players around you, and only a handful ever really make it. So on the one hand, you can say, you know, where are they now and who didn't make it? But on the other hand, you got to see that the ones who did have a career at any level in professional football still can be a success. But let's see where the next Man United hopeful will come from and where they end up.